James here from GoodGuitarist.com, and in today's lesson, we're going to learn how to play Mad World, which was originally written by Tears for Fears, but then later it was covered by Gary Jules and Michael Andrews for the film Donnie Darko, and that's the version that we're going to take a look at today. First, we're going to learn how to strum through the chords, and then we're going to learn the chord melody that you hear during the intro and at the end of every chorus. And before we get started, a couple things. First of all, we got to put a capo on the first fret. That way you can play along with the original recording and make sure that you're getting everything. You know, if you don't have a capo, you can still learn what we're doing in this lesson. It just won't sound the same as the original recording. It'll be in a different key, but it'll still sound good, you know, once you figured it all out. And the other thing I need to mention is that this is just a simple 4-chord song. It's not the same 4 chords over and over for the whole thing, but it almost is. And if you find that you need any help with them, I have a couple of resources to help you out with. I have a free ebook that kind of shows you all the basic chord shapes and gives you all the diagrams and all the stuff that you need. But if you want like a guided tour through all of that, I also have a complete beginner's guitar course. There's links to both of those down below, so please check them out if you need any extra help with this. Otherwise, we're going to get started with the chord shapes. Our first chord is E minor. Then we switch to G. Then D. And finally the A chord. Now there's a couple tricks that we can do to make switching between those chords a little bit easier. We're going to start off on our E minor, and I want you to make sure that you're playing it the same way I am, using your index and middle, or your first and second fingers, using those 2 fingers, because when you switch to G, you can leave your first finger down, and then you can make the G chord. So you might want to practice just pivoting off of that finger. And then, once we're on the G, we got to switch to D. And for that, you might notice that I'm pivoting off of my 3rd finger. So I can leave that finger down when I make this switch. And then finally, when I switch from D to A, I can slide that finger down and then complete the A shape. So I have D to A, and then for A, back to E minor so that we can play the whole chord progression again. We just kind of move that over. So they were here and then they go there. So the switching can be really simple, and you can make the switches really fast if you just work them out like that over and over. And that's the kind of stuff that we do in my course. So if that excites you, like if that's the kind of thing that you realize you need help with, that is what we go over in my course. So check that out. Otherwise, we're going to move on and practice switching between all these chords in order using downstrokes only, nice and slow. So starting out on the E minor chord, we're going to work our way through the chord progression for the verse. 1, 2, 3, 4. Leave my first finger down, 3rd finger, a couple more times. Alright, so before you move on, make sure that you can strum the chords just like that, nice and clean, downstrokes only, you know, making the chord switches comfortably. And when you're ready, we can take a look at the strumming pattern, which goes like this. I'll play it a little bit slower now. 3, 4. And if you've watched some of my other tutorials, you might recognize that as the most common strumming pattern ever. And it really is. If you watch anybody's guitar tutorials, I'm sure that you've seen it. That's the most common strumming pattern ever. I go over it in my ebook, in my course, everywhere. Let's just take a quick look at it now though. On an E minor chord, it starts out down, down, up. And then the second half is miss, up, down, up. So that might take a bit of getting used to. You're missing the strings on the downstroke. Miss, up, down, up. So just work out the motions, divide it into two like we just did, going down, down, up. And get that, and then miss, up, down, up. And then when you're ready, put that together, down, down, up, miss, up, down, up. And you're not really done until you can play it a whole bunch of times in a row, until you can go down, down, up, miss, up, down, 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 up, miss, up, down, up, with a nice steady beat. If you need any extra help with this stuff, I have it all in my free ebook and in my course, so check those out. Anyways, when you're ready, once you can play that strumming pattern a few times, we're gonna put it together with the chords from the verse and play through the verse nice and slow. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, for the next section, we already know all the chord shapes. It's actually even easier than the previous part. We're just gonna go between E minor and A, and that's it, just E minor to A 4 times total. It's really, really simple, using the same strumming pattern, everything else is the same. So let's just try it together. Since it is so simple, you can always just rewind the video, just watch it, see what's going on, rewind it, and then try it yourself. 1, 2, 3, 4. Finally, we're going to learn that chord melody that you hear at the very beginning of the Gary Jules recording and at the end of every chorus. It goes like this. So we call it a chord melody because we're playing a chord with a melody. It's pretty straightforward. And before I break it down, I'll show it to you super duper slowly. We're going to break it down into 5 super easy parts. The first bit, we're just going to take our E minor shape and we're going to strum the bottom 4 strings. So these 4, we're going to strum them all together. And that might be a bit tricky. You might accidentally, get the next string or even get all the strings. So something that I find helps out a lot is if you just touch the second string. We don't want that string to work, so we're just going to touch it. And then it's a lot easier to just get the bottom 4 strings. And then we're going to pluck the second string. And since I'm already touching it with my middle finger, I might as well just pluck it like that. Or you could pluck it with your pick. Up to you. So that's the first part and probably the hardest part. Next, we just have a couple simple notes. The 4th fret of the D string, and then the open G string. And since we're coming from an E minor chord, I end up using my pinky finger on that one, So that's pretty important that you play that with your pinky finger. The next part, we go 2, 4. We're still on the D string. Then we go open D string, 4th fret of the A string. Now, last but not least, we land on the A chord and we do the strumming pattern once. So that's, pretty easy. Now, I recommend memorizing it in the 5 parts like I just showed you, but when you end up practicing it, I think it's a better idea to do it this way. Starting off with the E minor chord and just doing this a whole bunch. Just so you can really accurately get the right strings, because that's kind of tough to pick just the strings you need. Then I would practice the melody like this. And I do it again, really slowly and evenly. And then I would try to do the whole thing really slowly and speed it up gradually. So once you're ready, we can practice that together super slowly, even slower than we were doing before, just really, really slow, because that's the way to build consistency. You want to be perfect, slow, or else you're not going to end up making it perfect when it's fast, because it's harder to play faster. So let's try it now, nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so that's how you play the Gary Jules Michael Andrews version of Mad World. If you need any extra help with this, remember to check out my free ebook or my beginner's course. Otherwise, I hope you have a fun time practicing, and I'll see you soon.